In this version of Superman's story, Absolute Superman, we open years ago on Krypton. Clark narrates the history of his homeworld, a planet dominated by sprawling cities of science and ancient law. Cities like Kandor were powered by lava plants and supercapacitors made from sunstone. At the top of Kryptonian society sat the Science League and its clerics, powerful elites who controlled even the weather. But Clark's parents weren't among them. They were laborers, just regular people working the fields, fixing machines. One day, Lara, a young mechanic, helped a struggling farmer fix his broken harvester. They talked about the inequality, the soaring prices, the storms hitting rich cities while the Redlands dried out. Moments later, the clerics finally sent the rain machines. The farmer wants to go inside, but Lara wanted to enjoy the rain they paid for. Clark then reveals that his mother was once a brilliant student, but was banned from the Science Academy at just 9 years old for writing an essay demanding funding for interstellar exploration. That one act got her labeled as defiant for daring to dream. He explains how class divisions shaped every part of life on Krypton. Everyone wore their class crest, and the symbol we know as Superman's S was seen as a mark of shame, proof you were poor. But his parents wore it with pride. Children of the sun, workers with steel hands, people of strength. The story shifts to Jor-El working in the mines, inspecting for safety risks. Workers said they heard cracking. Jor ran every test. Nothing showed up, but he trusted his gut and shut it all down anyway, even after getting chewed out by a pompous middle manager flashing his elite badge. And moments later, the mine began to collapse. The workers were right. Jor had saved lives. Clark explains that Jor-El was once at the top of his class, destined to join the Science League, but on graduation day, he used his speech to condemn the League's destruction of the planet's natural resources. They laughed him off the stage, stripped him of his future, and pushed him out of the system. But he was right. Krypton was dying. As kryptonite energy began pouring through the cracks, Jor and his team raced for the surface, barely surviving. And then the story jumps forward to Earth present day. Deep in the mines of Brazil, migrant workers harvest massive deposits of asbestos, deadly, toxic, and dangerous. But the Lazarus Corporation doesn't care. They force the men to keep digging under armed guard, promising them $1,500, barely $300 more than a month's pay, while the company pulls in hundreds of millions from the diamonds. Then, while going to work as usual, without explanation, a huge pile of diamonds appears, already crushed and processed. The workers are stunned. Nobody knows how it happened, except one man, Clark. Superman had done it in secret. He walks among them, silent, working for justice in the shadows. That night, one of the miners, nicknamed Afro-Man, offers Clark food, drink, music, and company, telling him, "You're family now." The Afro-Man asked Clark his name, but Clark only whispers, "I don't have a name anymore." They speak of suffering, truth, and purpose, but Clark knows he has more work to do. The next day, peacemakers storm the favela. Afro-Man is beaten and interrogated on who among them is superhuman. Superman, weakened and low on solar energy, prepares to fight. His suit, sentient and intelligent, warns him of incoming conflict. Still, Clark refuses to leave. He protects the people, evacuating as many as he can while drones and soldiers close in. He absorbs solar energy, unleashing it in a burst. Too much. He begs his suit, Soul, to shut him down, and just before he can escape, he's stopped by Lois Lane. She cuffs him and warns him if he moves, she'll fry him. But things aren't over. In the Nevada desert, Brainiac monitors it all from a Lazarus Corp lab filled with shrunken cities begging him to end their suffering. Back in Kansas, the Kent farm lies in ruins. A sign reads, "Property of Lazarus Corporation." Something happened there. Something bad. Meanwhile, on Krypton's past timeline, Jor-El has survived the mine collapse, but shows signs of radiation poisoning. He and Lara know the truth. Krypton is dying. And as they look down at baby Cal, in this universe, he didn't leave as an infant. He stayed long enough to know his parents, long enough to feel their love, long enough to be held, comforted. But just beyond, the green glow of kryptonite begins rising.